behind the collar. He was there at the door, with a welcoming arm, greeting all of his flock, bidding them to enter the house of the Lord. He used out a charm, good book at hand, dressed out all in splendour. He stood high in his pulpit and raved about issues that moved him to speak of the ways that sinners were to be saved and the world would belong to the meek. He spoke to the rows who stared from the pews, who followed this faith once a week, sometimes wishing they were in his shoes, building their pride in this religious streak. "Today," he began, warming to his favourite address, "I shall speak of the fallen, the sinners, the whores, she who, like the serpent, seduces with soft caress. There are those in the village." He'd perfected this pause. Bun-pinned old ladies twitched and then pricked up their ears. Here was the gossip for afternoon teas. Eyelids rose from sleep, lips smacked and licked. He revelled in the silence, searching out fears. Now, central eating, he'd only front teeth, shuffled and tried to avoid the sharp eyes that spotted all those who had played with mischief. He remembered last night with Olwyn the thighs. Those who have strayed from the paths down the dark lanes. He leaned over the pulpit, warming to a theme that sent young men dreaming, some awoke with the stains. Where Satan has led them, some have been seen. This was the best pause of all. It lingered and crept around each pew, as if dwelling on those with the shame. There was one from the tavern. Olwyn near wept. She'd been there with Di, and Bevan, and Wayne. He rambled and carefully twisted each accusation, knew each double meaning, had mastered the text, that had half of them trembling with each hesitation. But no one was named. Bunpins were quite vexed. "Let us pray for these sinners." All heads were bowed, including those whose hands wandered at the back of the bus. Several youths started sweating, suitably cowed. "Some who are with us today." Urig muttered a cuss. Heads began turning, all in one direction. Urig looked at the tiles and wished he were dead. Menai was blushing. She'd felt his erection. Why couldn't he have taken the next bus instead? Bunpins were nodding, glancing sideways and smiling. They all knew Nain Williams took the bus at those times. She had ears, eyes, and a nose, not for deceiving, and every word that was whispered she'd turned to 10 lines. Linwin struck up on the organ, and they sang a last hymn, made each syllable clear, reached all the high notes, and they thanked the priest who had saved them from sin, dropping coins on the plate as they reached in their coats. He led the procession, but you would think it observed, if you knew, as the choir boys followed until all were gone. For the lads were uneasy at what they had heard from the pulpit, since all of them, one by one,